Hello, hello. What's up, Dr. Palmer? How are you?
Michael, the founder of Pulpit AI. We have been hearing a lot about Pulpit AI at SU's campus lately.
Man, we're so excited to partner with you guys. Just
Us?
love the innovation and obviously love you and the whole crew, man. We're really excited to partner and honestly excited to hear you and the students' feedback on the product, help us keep building it and just honestly explore kind of this whole new world of AI together, you know?
Yeah, at SCU, we have a desire to make education accessible, affordable, and experiential. And that requires putting tools into the hands of our students that are going to be serving in ministry and in
Hmm.
theology. We have a network of over 250 network campuses. We have students here on our Lakeland campus. And we have a whole doctoral program, DMin, PhD, students that are also online and in some of our competency-based programs. And we have equipped them with Pulpit AI in our partnership. And, it's great to be here to talk about this product, to show what it can do as we work to integrate this tool into all of our classes and get students to look at it as an asset to help them process through their theological papers as well as their practical ministry papers. We think it's going to be great for them and prepare them as they work through their time at SU and move forward from here.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're really excited, man. I think there's so many tools out there right now, and there's a lot of people building a lot of different things and a lot of different choices people can make, and we're all about all those. I think there's a lot of different tools for a lot of different reasons. I think for us, we're the first AI tool for churches to exist, really. Since then, we've had, almost 500,000 sermons uploaded to the platform. We've had about 20,000 churches use it. Right now, we've got about 4,000 churches using it every single month. Some of the biggest churches in the world. And then, a pastor in the middle of nowhere, Louisiana, that pastors 25 people who uses it every single day. So, for us, it's about creating value for people who are communicating the gospel, and local churches and people who want to be in ministry, studying to be in ministry. And again, it's us just hashing out like, hey, what is this? What does the Christian version of AI look like? And how do we stay faithful to what we believe about preaching and teaching and theological education, which is why we're really excited to partner with you guys, because I think, the reality is it is a tool that we can use and will use, and I know you're a believer in, but at the same time, it can also be a crutch, and it can be used in ways maybe that we don't think is faithful to how we should interact with the Bible and preaching and teaching and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, before we get into looking at the platform itself and what it's capable of, maybe you can tell me, sort of answer some of the bigger questions that are out there that maybe our students might have about the product and about how we've integrated it. Do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions as we start here?
Go for it.
Okay, so number one, one of the big elephants in the room is the ethical concerns with AI. We're an AI friendly school at SCU, and we want to teach our students a responsible use of it. We realize that everything in society today is being incorporated, AI is being incorporated into it. Airplanes and cars, and even the restaurants that we eat at, as well as our educational systems, are relying on AI. So some questions that preachers may have is why should we use AI in our sermon preparation? How can we do so ethically, especially when isn't sermons or isn't Bible study or isn't theological work supposed to be done by the leadership of the Holy Spirit? So how do you account for the ethical process of this, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. One of the unique things for us and how we built Pulpit AI is it's not like ChatGPT where you can just open up a chat window and just say, write me something about XYZ. For us, it only works if you upload previously created content. And so for us, one of the things we wanted to do, and obviously I know people use AI and ChatGPT for parts of sermon prep, and I think that's great, whether it's clarity and augmentation. And am I clear here? Hey, what's a different tone of voice I can use? Basically anything, once we feel like we've studied, prayed, done the work, there's a lot of different things it can do to help us be clearer, to help us sound maybe less academic and more content contextually for where we're at, or vice versa. So, yeah, I think the big thing in AI usage is like, are we letting it do the work and think for us, or are we using it to augment and make our work that much better, right? I use AI as more of a thought partner than anything else, you know. So, um, asking questions, uploading my own thoughts, and having it critique the clarity. Again, like I think it's key when using something like ChatGPT when it comes to things like the Bible and theology. You got to think of ChatGPT as nothing more than a massive data set of all the publicly available information on the internet. So to use ChatGPT to exegete a scripture, you know, all you're getting is the same information that you would get if you Googled, you know, Genesis chapter 1 commentary, which you as an academic would know that, you know, most of our best and most significant works and commentaries, like you're not Googling them and finding them, you know. So
Right.
so I would say, you know, basic theological research, you just need to know that it's basic and you need to check it. So I think yeah, look, I think it's a tool. I think it's a tool like anything else. I think it's a tool like Logos. I think it's a tool like Microsoft Word. I think it's a tool like any piece of technology that we use. I think it's just up to us to go, you know, hey, how do we do this ethically and stay faithful to the primary work, which is reading the Bible, studying the Bible, developing thoughts, praying about what it is that we're supposed to say, and giving that to our people. So if it's a replace for that, I think we've missed the mark, which is one of the reasons why with Pulpit AI we've built it specifically to really only have any value whatsoever if you upload a piece of content to it, so that you're not just
Mhm.
starting from scratch, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and you know, it's helpful because that what you're correct in saying is if you wanted specialized reading, ChatGPT is not going to be able to provide that for you. Google Gemini is not going to be able to provide that for you. So in the way that we study and do our readings, we want to make sure that we have specialized access to specialized material, which would be our responsibility for uploading it. In that sense, Pulpit AI can do an excellent job. You know, the title of this platform is Pulpit AI. I think sometimes it could give the impression to students that this is just for preachers or people that have a preaching ministry or are studying in a preaching class, but it's well beyond that, Michael. Maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, first of all, this is built for theological and scriptural content of all kind in mind, you know? So it takes whatever source material you upload. So yeah, obviously, it is built immediately for preachers and teachers and people to repurpose their content and interact with their content. But I think the reality is you can upload any kind of media file, right? So maybe someone's not preaching every week, maybe they're not preaching at all, but maybe they're hashing out some theological ideas, or maybe there's a theological paper that they've got to do an assignment on. They can upload that and interact with it, right,
Mhm.
on the platform. So whether they're preaching, teaching, whether they have a Substack that they're writing, which I think, you know, I would think that anyone, if anyone is studying to be in ministry or, you know, go deeper in their theology, part of outworking that is like outworking those thoughts, right? In writing and speaking, whether that's speaking to a crowd or whether that's just hashing those out. So yeah, I think the reality is that any kind of content that wants to be created, that someone would want to create or would want to upload and interact with, this is really special. And again, it's not like ChatGPT, you know, where you can just open up a chat window and start from scratch. So just like there's different word processors, and sometimes there's some things I use my notes section on my phone for, and some things I use Microsoft Word for. I think what Pulpit AI offers is, hey, I want to not just chat with the open internet and start from nothing. I really want to upload a piece of something that either I have written or I have said, or something that I'm reading, whether it be a lecture in a classroom or whatever, and I want to specifically chat with like just that. I think the other big thing is that there is a level of safety and security to it, where if anyone just goes and starts using any of the LLMs out there, those companies are using that to train their data. We don't do that. So like, there's no, you know, this is a safe, secure place to experiment with AI and to try
It's
different
not,
things.
yeah, it's not open sourcing.
Correct. Correct.
That's great. No, that's great. And that's important because we want to make sure that we preserve our students' work and that we don't put it out there and that it doesn't get copied or plagiarized, which is
Mhm.
a great aspect of this program.
Yeah. The other thing too is I would just say I think, you know, and I know Pulpit AI and Subsplash and SEU were like always working on like, hey, so what are some of these like frameworks for how we should use it and how we shouldn't? And I know we're going to be working on a lot of like content over the next year with that. But I also think the thing for Pulpit AI is a lot of the people that use it because they want the safety of it being a closed faith built ecosystem, right? So some people it's like, hey, I don't, it's like a privacy thing. So I think that's also another aspect of it.
That's great. No, that's great. Well, hey, let's get into the platform and the
Let's do it.
product and see how we can use it here, man.
Yep.
Okay, Michael, so what we're going to do is we're going to pretend as though you and I are in a theology class. Now, this class in particular, there's not a requirement in the class to preach a sermon,
Mhm.
but we are theological students who are coming up with a research paper, and we have this particular paper, C.S. Lewis and the Pentecostal Imagination, that we want to dialogue with to use it to help us complete our research and see what other fun things we can do with it to prepare ourselves as theologians and as communicators of the gospel.
Great. Yeah. So you sent this to me just a few minutes ago. Uploaded it. Our system processed it, and then let's go ahead and click into it. So here's kind of what there's a couple different things that automatically happen here. So when you upload anything, whether it be an audio file, video file, or a text file, it's automatically going to, based upon the algorithm, based upon the context that we have built, right? Again, based upon hundreds of thousands of sermons and lectures and all that's kind of gone into to build this app. What it's automatically going to do is it's going to break this paper down for you. So that's a 5,500 word document,
Standard academic paper.
standard academic paper. So here's what it's automatically doing for you. So um, this here is basically just breaking down, hey, here's this outlined. Here's what the introduction, it kind of just goes through like, hey, this is a high overview of what this paper is about, right? So it just kind of makes it just a bit more digestible. Um, and this again some of these again are going to be on the communication side. So if you look here, we automatically just deliver, hey, here are some illustrations that could be used, some practical applications. It will automatically create some content based upon that paper. So discussion questions, guides for group discussions, as well as even just devotionals, based on that. Some social media posts, as well as like an email recap and a blog post. So that's just kind of, again, it's like, hey, it's just reformatting, different reformatting this. So let's go in here though to the chat with this particular document. So, okay, so basically this is a window similar to like a chat GPT. But again, it is using just this paper as the context for this interaction, right? So what kind of stuff like what would something that a student would want to do with this article?
Well, maybe ask like what are the similarities between C.S. Lewis and Pentecostals?
What are the similarities between C.S. Lewis and Pentecostals in this paper? Right. Okay, so this is going to essentially take that paper. Hey, this is what it's going to explore: Holy Spirit and healing, miracles and supernatural, spiritual gifts, theological imagination, emotion and joy, and direct experience and cultural engagement. How would these like add up, would you say?
Yeah, so it's pulling it right from the article. So it is giving you like the five, whereas the first article was given to you, the first overview was given to you the 30,000 foot view. This is kind of
Hmm.
breaking it down based upon your questions. Now, so it's given the similarities that it sees, and then can you chat with it further from this point?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what do we want to say? What do we want to get out of it?
Let's just say you're interested in the spiritual gifts here. So now you have to build. you like his idea of spiritual gifts, and it
Hmm.
says in discussing the gifts of the Spirit, Lewis' conception of human existence as amphibians, half spirit, half animal, mirrors the Pentecostal view that spiritual gifts are a logical and integrative part of the Christian experience. And so this is maybe what you want to begin building your idea around. So let's just hone in on the spiritual gifts. What's a way that we could begin to build maybe the first section of a paper around this thought of spiritual gifts? How would we chat with it?
Yeah. So, well, the first thing we could say is we could say, let's say, okay, I am working on a paper that is how long?
3 pages, let's say.
That is 3 pages based on this article. I'd like for it to focus on the spiritual gifts uh, portion, and I want help diving deeper into those ideas. What could an initial outline uh, look like, and what direct quotes from the paper could I potentially use?
So it's giving you direct quotes from the paper itself.
Correct.
That is so helpful because ChatGPT, if you ask for quotes on things, it gives you wrong quotes all the time from everybody. And it actually I mean, this has happened a thousand times to students
Mhm.
where you're asking for a Charles Dickens quote or you're asking for whoever it may be, and then you go to find the source of it and chat admits, well, it's not really the quote. I kind of made that up. Have you ever
Correct.
had that happen to you?
Yes, absolutely. And so, to give you kind of an idea as to how the technology behind what we're doing right now is how it works, when you upload a file to our system, it essentially just transcribes it. And so, what you're chatting with right now is simply the transcription, the exact transcription of whatever media file you upload. So, you're not chatting with the outside internet. Like, it is pulling, again, it's, what we always say to pastors who use this is like, hey, what you put in is what comes out, you
Mhm.
know? So yeah, it's what you're ensuring is that nothing is being added to this uh as you interact with it.
Okay, so we
Yep.
basically we have a direct quote from it, um, and then we're able to consider how we want to continue building our paper from this.
Hmm. Yep.
So
And so if you look here, so one thing that's interesting is like if you look here on the right, these are some sample prompts. Okay. So, what interactive online content can be developed from this? How can the core message be adapted into small groups? What are key insights? You can go to the coaching thing and say, what would increase brevity here? How effectively were the main points communicated? And again, these are just starters, right? But let's say you wanted to go, you know, uh, what theological questions were raised from this? You just click that. That prompt will populate here, and you can just click that and it'll come up, right? Another thing that you can do is let's say there's a really deep prompt, like a really very in-depth prompt what you want to use, right? So you could even go to so like let's look at this, right? So let's say you're a dad. Okay, and let's say you are wanting, at dinner that night with your family, you read this paper and you're going, man, how could I have a conversation at dinner with my kids tonight? You just literally click this and it will literally take this paper and turn that into, I think the prompt here says a devotional, a daily devotional for your family based upon this paper, right? So not that again that helps you with the course, but it's anything that switches context, right?
so let's say, okay, well, let's just, so essentially you're a pastor and you're taking this course and you have this and you're trying to integrate it into your research paper.
Hmm.
This Pulpit AI is going to help you do more than just use this article for your paper. It's able to show you how to integrate it into your day-to-day things.
Correct. Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Um, Yeah, or you could, I mean, let's say you are, wanting to start a Substack or you're wanting to write or even just like help you
Yeah,
think
that well, let's
through
talk
some
about
of this. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about a Substack because just about every theology student today is coming up with Substacks and wanting to write. So we can take that same C.S. Lewis article,
Hmm.
and we're trying to do a Substack with it. How would
Yeah.
you recommend doing that? How could we build a Substack with it?
So I think the first thing you could say is, I want to use this paper as source material for what's a normal Substack? 500 words?
About
That
700 words is the
seven
sweet
for
spot.
a 700 word Substack post. I want to dive a bit deeper into the key themes, but I also want to take a stab at critiquing some, how do you spell critiquing? Some of the finer points of the paper. Help me come up with some questions to ask of the text that I can then formulate arguments. Sorry, I'm just trying to type fast
Hmm.
here.
Hmm.
Formulate arguments against, against. Yeah,
You
okay.
apparently weren't an English major, Michael.
I know, right? Exactly. Okay, so this is just giving you ideas. So again, you're not going in and you're not saying, type me a Substack post based upon this paper. Don't just give me an overview. Don't put it in put it in different language. Help me come up with some ideas that might make a good post, right?
Hmm.
So what it's doing is it's saying, and if somebody wanted to try and critique, a finer point of C.S. Lewis, this would be how they could do it. But essentially, so here's what it's doing. It's like, hey, here's some ways that you may want to, that you can maybe dive deeper into some key themes, right? So the Pentecostal perspective, how effectively does the paper align C.S. Lewis work with Pentecostal theology? Are there points where the connection feels forced or not fully developed? And so it's essentially giving you some questions to go, oh, okay, man, these are maybe some things that I could write further about. Okay. So let's just say you go, oh, okay, let's go back to the Pentecostal perspective. So let's say the student is like, oh, actually, yeah, I'm not so sure that C.S. Lewis effectively that this paper effectively aligns C.S. Lewis' work with Pentecostal theology. Are there points where their connection feels forced and not fully developed? Okay, so let's just say we want to go deeper. Okay, let's go deeper on this idea. Okay, um, um, what would be a good question? Like if someone was gonna, like what would be the next iteration of how you would want to get some more information out of this, or that would maybe help you be a thought partner in kind of constructing an argument?
Yeah, so based on this paper, identify in this paper where C.S. Lewis was uniquely Pentecostal.
Okay. First, identify where C.S. Lewis was uniquely Pente- Pentecostal.
If at all.
Sec- Second, if at all. Second, um, identify where the connection point feels forced, could feel forced. Okay.
Okay.
So here we go. Points where Lewis aligns with Pentecostal theology. All right.
Yep.
Emphasis on healing
Hmm.
and the Holy Spirit is going to be okay. Experiential faith, miracles, and supernatural. Points where the connection could feel forced. All right. So doctrine of the Holy Spirit. While Aslan's breath is symbolically linked to the Holy Spirit, Lewis's writings do not provide an exhaustive or explicitly Pentecostal treatment of pneumatology. So these are maybe some of the windows where someone could go, okay, well, let's, you know, let's dive deeper into this.
What if you wanted to put in your own critiques in here and say and start dialoguing perhaps with his healing narrative?
Okay.
How would you
Yeah.
begin to go about doing
Yeah. I could just say, um,
that?
what would be okay? Let's look at the healing narrative. The account, resistance to heal his mother with the silver apple and vision that he introduces a theological complexity hard to reconcile with Pentecostal views on healing and divine intervention. Okay. Um, at first glance, it seems to me that the healing narrative portion uh, feels a bit forced, um, as it doesn't seem, you know, let's just say, feels a bit forced. Can you help me think through why that may be true and false?
Okay, so it gives you the options here and the thinking both ways to allow you to have to synthesize it and
Mhm,
process it.
mhm. You could even do this. Watch this. You could say, okay, now I want you to develop a series of uh, nuanced questions for me to have to answer that will help me determine where I stand on this. Don't tell me what to think. Give me questions and perspectives. Um, Give me questions, let's say questions to workshop.
Great, great.
So here we go. So these are, these are some things we're going to ask, right? Like,
Hmm.
okay, great. So now I have a framework to then go back and go, all right, I'm going to workshop these. I'm going to workshop these things.
Okay.
Um, you could even say, now try and stump me. Give me a question that will ultimately lead me to the place where I have to realize that C.S. Lewis, that the ideas I am trying to, you know, critique, um, are actually, I don't know, what word would you use? Accurate? I don't know.
Accurate seems fine, yeah.
Okay, let's just see what it does here. So it's basically just giving you questions. So again, it's a thought partner. It's a
Yeah, it's a
debate. You
thought
can
part. Yeah, it's like an interlocutor. It's somebody that you're talking to, but the great thing about it is not pulling from an outside source and it's staying strictly to the text itself and it's quoting the text itself accurately.
correct, correct, and underpinning all of it is Pulpit AI's presupposition that this is a Christian piece of content uh, that you're interacting with, right? So it,
So,
it doesn't, it doesn't say, well, in the Christian faith, it's, you know what I mean? It's
mhm.
like
Yep.
it is giving you exactly what you need it to give you.
Well, you mean the concerning thing about some chat bots is that it's just going to always agree with you on everything, no matter how you turn it. If you say this or you say that, it'll say this and it'll say that with you.
Hmm,
But this is keeping it strictly to the location of the paper so you can dialogue with it.
correct, correct.
Okay, well, so go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say we can go in another direction, and I can show you maybe some other like interesting stuff people could do
Yeah,
with this.
yeah,
But if you got more
yeah.
questions,
Let's go. No, let's go. I wanted to do the same.
okay. So let's say that the assignment that the student has to do is, let's just say the assignment is, hey, they have to take a counter position to one of these things that C.S. Lewis is saying. They've got to distill that counterposition down into a 30-second script that they want to read into their phone and post online for theological engagement, right? Like, let's say
Yep.
they want to put theology stuff up on TikTok, right?
Yep.
Let's
Yep.
say hypothetical. Is that like would that be like a
Yep.
good,
Yep.
maybe? Okay,
Yep.
okay,
One of the best assignments I ever had was communicate the gospel in one tweet, and that was when it was 140 characters. So, I mean,
yes,
something like that, where students can learn how to share content and be good at content creation.
right. So we're going to presuppose some things because we're going to let this kind of create the strongest counterposition instead of us doing it ourselves for the sake of time. But let's just
Mhm.
say, okay, now take the strongest counterposition here and help me distill it down into a 30-second argument. It needs to be a script that I can read and post to TikTok. I want it to be compelling and have a hook at the beginning with a strong statement to catch someone's attention immediately. So here it's saying, is C.S. Lewis really the Pentecostal theologian we didn't know he had? While some argue that Lewis's depiction of healing and supernatural aligns perfectly with Pentecostal beliefs, let's dig deeper. Lewis narratives, and it kind of gives you um,
Gives you the overview of it.
gives you the overview. Um, um, Yeah, and again, we let it pull out that specific point. But let's say this person went through all the questions and kind of developed their own, 3-page paper that was an argument against or a counterpoint of what this paper is saying, right? They would then drop that in to this and say, or upload it to this and say, okay, turn this into a 30-second
Yep.
script for, whatever. Right now, because we did it this way, it's writing it for them. But again, so as you can see, it is like a closed ecosystem where that's what you're interacting with.
Yep. Fantastic. Okay, great. Okay, let's talk about some of the media features that this has.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's say you are a preacher, or let's say that you. Actually, you tell me the context because we can do podcasts, content, we can do preaching, teaching content, course content.
Yeah.
You
Let's
tell me what you think would be best.
Yeah, let's say the student wants to make their own content out of the class. So let's say they want to take what they've learned from a C.S. Lewis article and they want to make a video of themselves on one of the social media or for their Substack or Instagram or whatever, how
Great.
they can go about doing that. Some
Yeah.
clipped content, perhaps.
Yeah, okay. So let's just say, well, this will look, more professional, because I'm going to use a course that I shot, right, like professionally. But let's just go in here. So let's just say the person wants to, set up a camera. Um, all right. So essentially, what I've got here is a course on AI, actually, that I did, right? So you upload that, it's going to automatically give you, as you can see here, right? So even if you wanted to practice preaching, or yeah, you wanted to take a paper and go, hey, I want to give actually an audio or video argument of this, right? You could record that, you could upload it to Pulpit AI. You could just record it on your phone. You could set up a tripod, and it doesn't have to be professional, right? Um, and it'll essentially give you a summary. It'll give you chapters as well as keywords to tag. Uh,
Of you talking, basically.
yeah, exactly. Yep. Yep. And discussion questions based upon it. Again, group discussion guides, a devotional, social media posts, right? An email recap, a blog post, and then one thing it'll do is provide you with video clips, right? So automatically, what this is going to do here, um, is it's going to pull out specific clips that would be good for social media. It's even going to give you, kind of the area. Is it inspiring? Is it teaching? Is it pastoral? So we can go
I
ahead
think
and
that one of the main things
it's
we
going to
need to
pull that
begin to do
specifically,
as
right? So
church
let's
leaders and
say
pastors is
say
to
I like this
anticipate the
clip. Say I like this clip, but I want to edit it. I can actually go in here. I can turn on the facial tracking, which means it's the camera will or will not move with me. I can turn captions on and off. I can use some different caption
That's cool.
customizations.
Yep.
Or I can kind of create my own. How big do I want them to be? Where do I want the positioning to be? Do I want a background, no background? What color do I want, right? Do I want to highlight a word, right? And so once I've determined that, like, let's just say this is what I like, I hit save. It's going to reprocess that clip with the specific things that I want. Now, let's say the AI didn't actually feed me anything that I thought was awesome, right? Let's say I'm like, the AI came up with fine stuff. Okay, well, here's another thing you can do. So we also will give you a transcript for the whole media file, right? So what you can do is you can go to any part of this transcript. So, like, let's say I really love this piece, all right? I can highlight that in the transcript. I can preview that specific clip, okay?
Oh, wow. Wow.
And then I can also generate a clip from it,
Oh,
and
that's
I can do
incredible.
those same customizations, and I can save that. So
So
again, it's
basically,
it's
so you
essentially like it's a personal content suite, content creation suite. So you don't have to be a video editor, you don't have to know how to edit, you don't know have to make captions, you don't need to do any of that. You simply upload whatever it is that you want to upload, and this is a suite to help you create
and
content from it.
And that's one of the questions is why do we want all of our students to have Pulpit AI? And it's again the way that we communicate the gospel and the way that we communicate theology today is not just doing it in a coffee shop where we're talking to our friends or just leading Bible study or even preaching from the church, but people are making content, and it's amazing how many students that we have in our ministry and theology program that want to make content and they don't know how to make content, or they make
Absolutely.
content and they want to improve their content. I can't tell you how many times a student has said, "Oh, I love what I'm learning in class," and is trying to integrate it
Yeah.
into their content. This is going to give them the avenue to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because I
And
think,
let's no, go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, yeah. So it's helping us to shape students who are already content creators or students that want to be content creators, which is a good portion of our students. It's giving them the
Yeah,
access. They don't have to hire an editor full time to do that for them.
correct. And I would even go further as to say, I think if AI has done anything, it's democratized the ability to put your thoughts and your ideas out into the world, right?
Yep.
Um,
Hmm.
and I think that's a super important thing. We only need, if you're someone that's online a lot, we need more Christian content, not less Christian content.
Yep.
And I think for a student, what better way to get your content critiqued than to put it out in there into the world. So that's the practitioner, that's the application part that I think is really important with this as well, which I love that I know you think about a lot, right? It's not just about thinking and writing, it's about putting those ideas into the world and having to like get in the arena
Yep.
with them and hash them out. So yeah, I totally agree.
Well, I mean,
We
yeah. How many students, here's the thing that I think of coming up for where I'm saying, Michael, is how many students we have that they go to ministry and theology classes and, they're shaping up to have content to share with it. I'm not saying everybody wants to be an influencer or a content creator, but a good percentage of people will eventually make content. And so this enables our professors to have a suite where they can direct students and say, hey, consider using Pulpit AI to make some of the content out of the stuff that you're learning in the class so that our school is preparing students, because I think we don't think about that enough in ministry and theology programs as we say, hey, turn in a paper that has Turabian, and we teach our students Turabian and they leave and they never use Turabian again. But why don't we teach our students how to be content creators? And some of the complaints is, well, I need an editor, I need this, I need that. Pulpit AI does all that for you. Just all you have to do is film the content and upload it in there. And this is a great tool to bridge immediate theological learning into a way that you can turn it into content that's presentable and shapeable for social media, which is really great. So, I mean, look at what we just did. We went from taking somebody's article who's talking about C.S. Lewis and their convictions to dialoguing with it and forming it into a paper to, hey, record yourself talking about it to turn it into clippable online content.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. As well as I think, so there's that immediate value. It's going to help us think, it's going to help us create. I think the other thing that we can't ignore, and this is why we're so excited to partner with SEU, is like we want to hear feedback. So as students use it, like we are shaping what we believe to be the premier AI tool that serves the body of Christ. And so for us, like get in there, tell us what to build, tell us what to scrap, like give us thoughts, give us ideas. Like we want to hear from you because we actually really value um, y'all's hands being on it,
Yeah.
and so I think that's huge too. It's like, man, SEU is an innovative place. We like to think of ourselves as being innovators, so we want to kind of work together to do that.
And that'll make those watching this more excited. For our next webinar, something we discussed is I'll have several students who have made some content, and we'll upload it ahead of time. And then me, you, and those students will be on our next webinar showing how they can clip their content and seeing the excitement in their face when their content comes alive.
You know what maybe we should do? We should I think once a month, the student that posts or that creates the most compelling clip on from Pulpit AI, we put on the SEU Barnett School of Theology's Instagram.
I think it's a
Monthly
great idea.
competition. You know what I
Let's
mean?
do it.
We'll even put
That's
it
a
on
great
Pulpit
idea.
AI's Instagram. You know,
Let's
this is
do it.
how the students are using it. I love it.
All right. Well, that'll be great. Oh, you consider it done. And then well, we're excited about it. So, yeah, man, we're excited about it. And I'm looking forward to next month's webinar where we can see what our students are made out of. So,
Fantastic. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Dr. Palmer.
thanks. Thanks, Michael.